In this video, I'm going to show you how to use the marker sketch Photoshop action. So the way the action works is you open your photo, you simply brush over your subject with a color and just play the action. And here's the effect that the action creates. As you can see what the action does, the action creates these marker sketch Photoshop effect, and the results that you get are fully layered, so there is a lot of options for customizing the results that you get, and the action also includes over 115 marker sketch brushes that you can use to add some more sketch details, and there are also 30 preset color looks that you can choose from to further build the designs. And also there are 5 sketchbook mockups included, so after you finish with creating the effect, you can place it into a mockup. Right? So let me just close these 2 windows now. So after you open up your photo, before you start using the action, there are just a few things that you should check just to make sure that the action will run without any errors. So the first thing you check is that your photo is a background layer. So it should be called a background and have this little lock icon. And if you have something like this or anything else, just go to layer, new, and choose a background from layer. Then click on this menu icon over here and choose panel options. And just make sure that you got this option here, the get copy to copied layers and groups checked. Then go to the image mode and make sure your photo is the RGB color mode 8-bit channel. You can also check the image size from here. So for best results, you should use the images that run from 25 to 4500 pixels wide or high. Alright, so now all you have to do is to just go to layer, new layer, to create a new layer, and just name it brush. And it's very important that you spell this correctly, so all letters lowercase, because otherwise the action won't work. Just choose OK. Now you can just hit B on your keyboard to select the brush tool. Right click anywhere inside the canvas, pick a solid brush. You can set any color here, doesn't matter, and simply brush over your subject. You don't have to be precise at all, so you can simply quickly brush. And I'm just gonna open my PSD file where I have already done brushing before. Here it is. So as I mentioned, you don't have to be precise at all. You can just quickly brush over your subject, and it's important that you have these brush layer selected while you're brushing over your photo, so you have this color fill on the brush layer. Alright, so now you can just hit B on the keyboard and click on the gear icon from here and choose load brushes, and just choose the brushes file that came with download, choose load, and you'll get all the brushes here in the brush panel. Alright, then just go to the window, actions, click on the menu icon right here, load actions, and just choose the action that came with download, choose load, and the action folder will appear here in your actions panel. And when you open the folder, you'll find 2 actions here. So this is the main marker sketch action and the update sharpening action. So all you have to do now is to just click on the marker sketch action and click play, and the action will start to work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fasten the video here, and I'm going to get back as soon as the action is finished, and then I'm going to show you how can you customize the result that you get. Alright, so the actions have just finished, so I'm just going to close the actions panel for now, and I'm going to expand a little bit this layers panel. So the first thing you'll probably want to do each time you run the actions is to just quickly close down all these folders. So how can you quickly do that? Is to just hold Control and Alt buttons for PC or Command Option for Mac, and when you get the marker sketch folder selected, just click on this little arrow here, and in this way we're going to close down all the folders. So I'm going to start customizing this effect from the bottom. And the first layer that we got here is the background color layer. So if you just double click on this layer thumbnail, what you can do here is you can change the background color. Alright, I'm just going to keep the default one. And here, if you click on this arrow here, you can double click on the gradient overlay, and you can further adjust the lighting effect here if you like. I'm just going to keep it default. And the next we got here are the outlines. Alright, so there are 2 layers here. And what you can do is you can change the opacity of this layer, right? So you can change the opacity by clicking on the word opacity and dragging it to the side, or you can simply click on this arrow and then just move the slider left or right. All right. So just going to quickly adjust the opacity, and here we got another layer. So they're creating a different outline effect. So you can just adjust the opacities as you like, and you also notice that these two layers have these layer masks. All right, so these layers are visible only over the brush layer area, and outside of the brush layer area they're also visible, but with a lowered opacity. So what you can do is you can open the properties panel, and if you drop down the density, you make this layer fully visible over the whole canvas. So as you start increasing the density, you're going to start removing this, actually lowering the opacity of this layer outside the brush layer area. So if you change it to 100%, then you'll completely remove this layer outside of the brush layer area. All right, so you can do the same with this one here. Okay. And the next we got here is the sketch folder. So this is the main folder here, the main effect, and you'll see that the sketch effect is fully layered, so you have many different sketch layers, and if you just hide them all and start turning on one by one, you'll see that each of these is going to reveal a different sketch details. So what you can do with these layers, how can you customize them, is you can simply change their opacities, and you can also hide some specific layer. If you don't like how it looks with your photos, you can simply hide that layer. Or what you can also do is, if there is some detail that you don't like from a specific layer, then what you can do is you can simply select the layer mask of that layer. You can pick a brush tool. You can just choose a soft brush from here, set foreground color to black, and you can start brushing where you wish to remove that specific layer. All right. Okay. And what we got here is the add sketch details brush right into a mask layer. So with this layer, you can add more sketch details using the brushes that are included here. Okay. So what you can do is you can use this brush here. This brush already have adjusted settings. So you can just use square brackets on your keyboard to adjust the size of the brush. And I'm just going to start brushing here on empty layers so you can see how this layer looks. So these layers are going to change direction depending on your cursor, right? And what you can do is you can just select these layer masks, set foreground color to white. I'm going to select this layer and just going to change its opacity, the size, and you can adjust the opacity here as well. So just going to drop it down a little bit, just like this. And now just going to start brushing over the areas where I wish to add more details. You can use the full opacity if you like, but using the lower opacity sometimes works better. You can just brush in several layers if you wish to make that detail more visible. So just gonna add a little bit of details here as well. Okay, you can add some edge details with this brush. All right. Now just going to increase the opacity for these details here. All right. If you wish to remove this layer, you can simply change the foreground color to black, and you can just start brushing where you wish to remove this layer. All right, just like that. And what you can also do is you can use a soft brush if you like to reveal more details. So foreground color to white, you can still use different opacity. You can just brush wherever you wish to add more details. Okay. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to choose some of these brushes to add more sketch details. So I'm going to use this one here. So these brushes don't have any settings here. You can adjust the settings as you like. So if you can just click here and they're gonna appear with the very high opacity. What you can do is you can drop down the opacity like this, and just click wherever you want to add more details. Just gonna use the lower opacity here. And what you can also do is you can change the size of the brush, and just going to show you some of the settings you want to use most of the time. So here you can just adjust how much you wish that the brush size changes as you start brushing. All right, so I'm just going to set 100%. Here you can adjust the minimum size of the brush, so just going to say like this. All right, this way you won't have a large changes in the size of the brush. Here just going to adjust the flow and opacity of the brush. So you're going to change the opacity as you brush and the flow. And here you can just adjust the spacing. All right. So now if you start brushing, you're going to start filling details, as you can see. So you can add some cool effects with this, and you can play with different settings here. What you can also do is you can use as many brushes as you like. So this brush here, you have the preset settings, and others you have just default settings. We can quickly adjust them as I have just shown you, so to achieve a lot of different results. All right, so I'm just going to keep it this way, and just going to brush a little bit here, more with the soft brush. I'll lower the opacity. All right, just like that. And I'm going to remove some of these details here, so just going to set the opacity to 100%. Going to set foreground color to black, and just going to brush a little bit here to remove some of these details on the top. Okay. So you just set foreground color to white. You can add more details. All right. Okay, that's it. So the next layer we got here is the reveal photo details layer, right? So if you change the opacity, you're going to start revealing or hiding the details, and this layer also has a layer mask that hides this layer, so it's visible only over the brush layer area. So what you can do, you can just shift click on this layer mask to disable it, and then the layer will be visible over the whole canvas if you like. All right, and here we got the color looks. So as I have mentioned at the beginning of the video, there are 30 preset color looks that you can choose from. So all you have to do is to simply select the color look that you want to try, just turn it on, so how it looks. If you don't like it, you simply try with another. And what you can also do is you can turn on one color look, adjust its opacity, then you can turn on another one, adjust the second color look opacity, and get a completely new color looks. So you can, this way you can combine as many color looks as you like. So in this example, I'm going to use this one here. Just going to drop down its opacity a little bit. And I'm going to use this one here. going to keep the default opacity. All right. So you can add some really nice color effects with these layers. And the next we got is the overall brightness. All right, so what we're gonna do, we're just gonna change the opacity of this layer. So this layer is gonna fade the shadows in your photo and gonna boost the midtones and the highlights a little bit. All right. And the next we got here is the overall contrast. So to adjust the contrast, you can just change the opacity here. Right. And next we got is the overall vibrance and saturation. So just double click on this layer thumbnail, and here you can adjust the saturation and the vibrance of the photo. Just gonna adjust like this. And the last layer we got here is the overall sharpening layer, right? And if you made any changes in the designs, for example, if you removed some details, you have add some new details and other, you need to update this layer as well. So all you have to do is just select the Adobe sharpening action and click play, right? And what you can do now is you can just change the opacity. All right, just gonna set it to 100%. All right, and the last layer we got here is the brush layer. So this is the brush layer that you made on the beginning of the video. And what you can do with this layer is you can just delete the mark sketch folder, and you can just play the action again, and you're going to get a unique result. The action is made so that every time you run the action, even if you use the same brushed area, you're always going to get a unique result and unique sketch variation, right? So you can create unlimited number of results. All right, that's it. And now what I'm going to show you is, just quickly check the before and after. So this is the before. This is our brush area, and this is the after. All right. So now I'm going to show you the mockups that are included. So as I mentioned, there are 5 mockups included. All right, so each of these mockups is fully layered. So what you can do is you can make literally any changes. You can just double click on this layer and you can change the background color. All right, and you can adjust the lighting here using the gradient overlay option. So you can change the direction of the light or make different style and make any other change. And you can also hide the background if you like. Okay, you can place some photo as a background or a texture or anything else that you want. You can simply hide the background if you have a transparent background, right? So here we got the shadow layer. So you can adjust the opacity of the shadow. And this is the base layer. So this layer is just going to take care of any transparent pixels and edges. Just going to hide this layer now so you can see that the marker and the sketchbook are also fully layered. All right, and what you can do is you can change their color of any element here. So you simply double click on the color layer thumbnail and just choose the color that you like. Okay, and here you can place the design. I'm going to do that in a few moments. So just going to show you these 2 layers here. This is the overall shadow, right? This layer is going to add some shadows within the objects. And here we got the overall reflection. So you can increase or decrease the reflection if you like. And this paper also has a texture, you can see, right? So what I'm going to do is you just have to select this layer. It says your design goes here, double click layer thumbnail, and you just double click layer thumbnail. And here you can place your design. You got 2 texture layers here. All right, you can adjust their opacities for different texture looks. And all you have to do is just go to File and choose Place Embedded. And I'll just choose the design that you want to add. Just going to select design. Here it is. All right, so just gonna place it like this. Okay, and make sure you put the design below the texture layers, so you got the texture visible over the design. And if you just press Control and S, Command S, you just go to File, Save. The design will be automatically added here. And what I'm going to do is, in this example, is I'm just gonna scale the design something like this. All right, so just gonna save it. So I have this white frame, and just gonna add here a new layer in a white color. So just go to Edit, Fill, Foreground Color, to add a white frame. Just gonna click Ctrl S to save, and here it is. So you can see the texture detail here. All right. So now I'm just gonna make a few adjustments. So I'm just gonna change the color, this one here, right? You can always use this color picker to grab any color from your design, right? And I'm going to change the color of the marker. So I'm gonna leave this part white, and I'm gonna use here this color I'm gonna use for here. And for this part, I'm just gonna use this one here. All right. So these are all the colors from the design here. So if you match, you can just double click here, and you can now just grab a color from the design if you like. All right, so that's it. And I hope you understood everything, but if you still need any help or you got any questions, feel free to contact me anytime via my Envato profile page. Thanks for watching.